Hi everyone, it's Deborah back again with more tips on organisation and storage, and today I'm looking at my metals. I have got 2 tubs of metals, and they're just these big plastic tubs that I've showed you before, and I'm just going to have a look what's in both of them. I love my metals, which is probably why I've got 2 tubs of things. In this one I just want to show you that I've got a container within the container. That's because it's just easier for me to store everything in the 2 tubs. So if I had this small one separately, then I'd have to go and look for it. Whereas if I've got 2 tubs, they sit together, I know that all of my metals are in here. Using this divided container allows me to sort things. So even though I've got little tiny containers within it, like these ones that hold mini paper clips and other little mini things, I found that a lot of these things won't actually fit in the bottles or the plastic containers that I have. So I decided to sort what I could in here, and then these little things can just sit nicely on top of them. The other things that is in here, I've got a whole heap of these containers, which are, a lot of this is new stuff that I only just got recently. And in fact, these are so new that they don't all fit in that container. So maybe I'll put them in here. That might be an idea. Sort them while I'm talking. And because I do like everything together. I don't like it when I split items. But I was in a rush to get them away. So I'm going to take all of those out. And then I'm going to put these 2 little things back in here. The other thing that I've got in here are all my old vintage pocket watches and watches. So these are real vintage items, and I've just bought them, and I do use them in my craft, so I've stored them here with my metals. And a spoon, which might be a funny thing to have, but it's an old serving spoon, and I've got a plan in mind to make something with that. I've got a few things that I've just dropped down the front here. If I don't want to get the tub out, I will often just drop things down into the front of it, because I know that I can do that quite easily without taking it off the shelf. I just unclip it and put things in the front here, but of course that means that at some point I have to actually pick these up and clean them up. So I've got a little camera, and I don't have like cameras anywhere else. I don't even know why I've got that, but I'll pop it in there. These little things are from Tim Holtz, and I think they might be in the other one, so I'll put them to one side. And these also, if they're not in here, they will be in my other tub, so I'll put them away in a minute. So that's one tub that I've got. And the second one that I've got, I have all these little containers. Now I already had these containers for something else, and they were empty. I'd obviously emptied out when I went through things and cleaned up and whatever, and I actually, there's those, I actually had them as spare containers, so I didn't have to go out and buy them, because I've had them for a few years and they've been repurposed a number of times, which, you know, that's a good thing about getting these little containers. And I never throw the containers away. If I'm not using them, I put them into a bigger container and I store them, because I know at some point I might be using them again. So in here I've got a number of different types that I just have. These are Tupperware containers, the little ones with the screw lids, the little ones with the flip lids, even one of those stackable ones that I've had. Oh, there's another one, 2 stackable ones that I've had forever. And I just store them in here. Plus I've got a basket, and the reason I've got a basket is I've got a lot of chain, so I've put all my chain in here, and then I've just dropped some other things in there that wouldn't really fit anywhere else. So that's how I've actually stored these, and that is the metal storage that I've got. That's all the metals that I have, which is probably too much. I do use it, and I'm going to force myself to use it some more. The other thing that I'm showing you today are these plastic containers. Now these are the thin plastic containers. They do fit an A4, and they just unclip. You can get them from cheap shops. I've even seen them in Big W as well. And in this one I've got all my handmade paper, so that's where I put all of the stuff I've been working on, plus other handmade paper that's been gifted to me. And I have quite a few of these, and I do label them. So this paper, I don't have enough of it to warrant going into a tub, and often because it's A4 it won't fit properly in the smaller containers that I've got anyway. I've had these containers for about 20 years. They're pretty sturdy. I've only ever had about, I think, one, maybe two of them break. I've got all different sorts, so it doesn't depend on the brand. And again, I have emptied them at points, but I've always kept them because a container is something that just comes in really handy. Here I have my collage books because that's what it says on the edge. And there they are. I've got some books that I've saved to collage. I've got some Marlene collage paper as well, rather than, this isn't tissue, it's actually paper. So it goes in here. And I've got probably 20 of them, and I store them in my rack above my desk, which I'll show you in another video. If you've got too much to store in those skinny ones, you can get fatter ones. I'll just compare. It's also bigger. I think it's actually called a document file. And I got these from Big W as well, but I'm sure that they are other places. You can see that they're much thicker than those ones. So that means that if I've got something like, this is my watercolour paper and sketch pads, oh sorry, put that in shot, that I can put them in here because I've got enough, too much for the skinny one, but again, not enough to warrant a tub, and the width of them makes them a bit difficult sometimes to put in a smaller tub. So I do have a number of these, probably half a dozen of these ones as well, and they just sit easily on the shelf as well. This is Deborah. Thanks for watching. Cheers.